Hello, everybody. So there has been a lot of talk in the PUBG scene, Korean PUBG scene, about the Korean leagues. Since PGI has been announced and what kind of teams are going to be going there, and that Korean teams will be going there. And there has been a little bit of talk about watching the Korean scene, the teams that are in Korea, the style that Korean teams play in their own league and an international play. And I kind of wanted to clear things up coming from somebody who watches not only a lot of Korean PUBG, but has been watching Korean esports for 8+ years. So a lot of people say they don't want to watch Korean PUBG, let alone PUBG in general, because it's too passive. Which is understandable because nobody wants to die early. So the thing about Korean PUBG is that there is 20 teams per, well, not group. There's 10 per group, 20 per game. But in Korea, there's 4 groups. So you have a total of 40 teams playing in each tournament, which there's 3 tournaments of. There is PSS, ASL, or whatever it is, the Africa one. And then there's PWM, which is PUBG Warfare Masters, which is the current one. Now, I could get all into the format and how the format goes, but you can easily just look it up on the PUBG wiki. But I wanted to get more into kind of explaining why you should watch it, and not just be focusing on the EU teams, just watching FaZe, just watching Liquid, just watching all these teams that, Vitality or whatever they're called now, instead of just watching them watching Korean teams, because they are a lot more interesting than I feel the general consensus of the community has. So on my side right here, I have a list of a good amount of the more popular teams, dare I say, even though they might not all be the best. So most people say, oh, all of the Korean teams are just passive, which is true for the most part. A lot of them are passive, mainly because of the whole third person, first person kind of debacle. But that isn't true completely, because if you were actually to watch the matches, watch the current tournament, PWM, if you were to watch, I don't know, last week, whatever it was, I think, day 2 or 3, MVP literally just goes ham every game. Every game, they will just take 4 cars, get a whole convoy, and bum rush whoever they see. They are probably the most proactive team I've ever seen in PUBG, not just in the Korean scene. Definitely in the Korean scene, because most of the Korean teams will just kind of sit there, edging around the circle, snaking in, and playing really passive with rotations and everything, which is, I mean, that's PUBG. Get used to it if you want to watch it at all. But people saying that they don't want to watch Korean, PUBG because it's too passive. Okay, well, you're going to love MVP then. Just go watch MVP. Only watch their games, and you're going to fucking love it the entire time. Because, I mean, not just the convoy example, but they're probably the most proactive team. They will take any fight early. They're always together. They never do a spread out. They are always together, and they will always take on a firefight whenever they need to. Now, if you don't like that, and you're one of those people that more enjoys the, how can I say, center circle play, where you just get to the center of the circle, set up a convoy around you, and just sit there, you're going to love Gen G, specifically Gen G Gold. Gen G Black is a little bit different. If you know who KSV was, or CJ, they are now Gen G Gold and Gen G Black, who have Eska, who is probably considered the most popular player in the Korean PUBG scene, because he used to play on Lunatic High and Overwatch, and he used to play, in Overwatch, and then when Lunatic High, the whole roster moved to Overwatch League and became Seoul Dynasty, he decided to not join, and he decided to go to PUBG. So he is by far the most popular player, at least in my opinion, because whenever they pan to the crowds, or he gets a kill in game or something, or they pan to him in the game or something, you'll just hear all of the Korean fangirls just screaming, which is pretty funny. But yeah, Genji Gold is definitely one of the teams that is specializes in. They're very passive in when they take fights, but they're very aggressive in their positioning, which is pretty interesting to watch because if you just watch them on the map, you'll see some really weird rotations where you're thinking, why are they going this way? I don't understand what they're doing. But once they actually get to where they're planning on going and setting up for the next circle, it makes a lot of sense. Now, if you watch other esports, you'll definitely notice a lot of the similarities in companies, such as Afrika Freaks, Kongdu, MVP, Genji probably not, but if you know who KSV is, or you know who KSV bought out Samsung, if you didn't know that, Republic of Gamers, obviously. There's a lot of teams I didn't put up here that you can go look at, but these are the main ones. I mean, they just did good in the most previous tournament, previous final, the PSS final, and the winner was Rock Centurion. But saying that it's too passive, one, why are you watching PUBG? Two, it's not true at all. I think that Korea might be one of the bloodiest regions. Literally, Afrika Freaks Ares in the Korean community has been quoted as the gods of war because they kill so much. They have always the highest kills, highest damage. One of their players is always highest damage done, always most kills. Even if they get out early, they get out first, second, third, they get out 20th, 19th, 18th. It doesn't matter. They're going to be trying to kill people no matter what. Another thing is this whole sister team dynamic. Because in most esports, sister teams, at least in the mainstream esports, League of Legends, Overwatch, Counter-Strike to an extent, StarCraft, but it's a little bit different. Sister teams aren't allowed because it could get iffy with, you could be throwing games, you could be trading players in and out willingly up and down to a minor and major league sort of status. But in Korean PUBG, it is completely allowed. For example, Kongdu Red Dot, however you want to say it. There's Kongdu Ghillie Suit, G Suit. For Actor Stars Indigo, there's two Actor Stars teams for ROG. There's ROG Centurion and ROG Maximus. For Genji, of course, Genji Gold, Genji Black. Afrika Freaks Ares. There's two teams. I could keep going on and on. But anyways, so you always have two teams to root for. OP.GG Hunters and OP.GG Rangers. So you always have kind of a backup team to be watching, which is actually really nice because since there's so many teams, there's 20 in a game. If both the teams you like are in there, well, you can root for two teams, which is fantastic. Or if they're not playing on the same day and they're playing on separate days because they're not played back to back, they're played Wednesday and Sunday/Monday, depending on where you live. You always have somebody to root for. Like, let's say you just love the Kongdu company, you can just always root for Kongdu. Doesn't matter. You like Ghillie Suit, you can root for Ghillie Suit. You like Red Dot, you can root for Red Dot. It doesn't matter. You can just watch what you want to watch. And the great thing about PUBG is one round you could finish 20th, and the next round you could finish first. So there's always somebody to root for. If you're like a fan of FaZe, they get out early, you're like, I don't care about this match anymore. I'm just going to go AFK for the next 20 minutes or whatever it might be. Where in Korean PUBG, oh man, I love the Afrika organization because I love Afrika Freaks from League of Legends. Okay, I can go watch that. Let's say you like MVP's old League of Legends team, or if you like MVP's StarCraft history or whatever it might be, you can always go and watch. You can root for MVP. Even if it's not the play style that you like, you can still enjoy the team. The players. People say, oh, Korean players are so, oh, they don't have so much to say, or, oh, I don't understand Korean. I don't want to watch because there's no English. Well, first off, there is an English stream. I'll link it if you want. It's just depending on the tournament, going to be the tournament name, and then the global version or English version, whatever they decide to call it. Same on Twitter. There is an English version and a Korean version. Um, so that's not really an excuse to not watch it, because you can watch it in English with very good casters. Um, Also, there's a lot of, if you don't know much about the way Korean shows work, there's a lot of these cute little shows they like to put on, if you've ever seen those, like Running Man, stuff like, style kind of like that, where they'll do like a talent show and they'll have all these players do these really wacky, weird sort of things. And it's just fun to watch because it humanizes the players. You know, in a lot of Western culture for sports, they try and make the players seem like these stars that are, they're so serious and, oh yeah, we want to win and blah 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 and all this stuff, where you're just looking at them as role models and not just, oh, there's just another, it's just like us, they're just like us. Where in Korean esports, specifically Korean PUBG, obviously, there's a lot of humanizing of them. They're just trying to have fun. They're just doing their thing. They're just playing the game they love, and it's great because there's a lot of time there's English subtitles too, so you can just enjoy it as well. You can just go on their YouTube channel. A lot of the YouTube channels for the teams have English subs, so you can watch them. So the excuse of, oh, I don't understand what they're saying, or oh, I I don't like the Korean players because I don't know anything about them. You can watch their streams. You can look at their Twitter. You can look at their YouTube. All this stuff. You can watch the English broadcast, because the English broadcast will explain things to you that you might not understand in Korean, which is fine. They're not asking you to speak Korean to just watch the PUBG game. So that's about it. I just want to help grow the community and grow the English-speaking Korean scene, because in the Korean community, there is a lot of viewership and fan support, obviously, because in Korea, there is so much support for PUBG. They love PUBG. If you talk to anybody that lives in Korea, they either play PUBG or they at least know about PUBG. Well, they won't call it PUBG. They'll probably call it Battlegrounds, because they usually call it Battlegrounds instead of PUBG. I don't know why. But anyways, they will know what PUBG is, because they've never had an esport or game like PUBG. A game where you can be tactical but also focus on first-person shooters at the same time, because they don't have Counter-Strike. Most people don't. Most people go, well, if Koreans are so good at video games and so good at esports, why don't they just play Counter-Strike? Because they never even dip their toes into Counter-Strike. First off, they don't have Steam. Steam does not exist in Korea, for the most part. When you go to a PC bong, you're not going to play on Steam. Okay? Second off, they like the tactical overview of a game. And there has been first-person shooters, but nothing to the extent that PUBG offers, where there's so much strategy that goes in, there's so much planning that goes into the game, where there's all the rotations, there's all the pre-planning, where you're going to drop, where you farm, knowing where other teams farm, knowing in a rotation where the other team likes to rotate, knowing, oh, should we just rush this, should we not rush this, depending on if you're playing third person, if you're playing first person. Obviously, aim is a massive factor, but we're not going to talk about that because it's just such a specific thing, you can't really analyze it. And so, in the Korean community, there is a lot of support, and there's a lot of viewership. So, there's no need to get them to watch, obviously. But for the English community, there's not a lot of support. When you look at the Twitch stream, or you look at the YouTube stream, or you look at the highlights, obviously, which are in Korean, but they do also, you could just watch the highlights, might I add, just going on a little tangent here. There's highlights for every day and every week that have English subs. So if you don't want to watch, obviously, 3 hours of PUBG, that is completely fine. I understand people don't have a lot of time to watch esports, let alone a full thing of PUBG, 4 rounds of PUBG. You can just go watch the 2-minute, 3-minute highlight with English subs, and it's fantastic, because you only are showed just the highlights. You don't want to see all the walking around that PUBG is known for. Um, but anyways, when you go on the Twitch streams or you see these English versions of the games or the Twitter or whatever it might be, there is not a lot of people watching. I mean, Clash Royale is getting more and stuff like that. Not talking shit about Clash Royale. I love Clash Royale too, but um, it's not a lot. You're talking less than 500 usually. I mean, it's being generous. So I just really hope that I can help grow the community for Korean PUBG, and just even if I get criticized, it doesn't matter because I just want to help it grow and maybe help the viewership a little bit and get people more interested in these teams and help support these teams. Um, in the future, I'll definitely be making videos about each specific team. Um, and maybe analyzing more about where they came from, their results, their play style, things like that. And that's about it. Thanks for watching.